you know, I'm a very meticulous person. I'm very meticulous. So I'm very on point when it comes down to stuff like that. So,
respect.
But it's all good. I just wanted the OG just wanted to spank the youngin' real quick before.
Oh man, listen. When my fiance get in, she gonna tell me too. Salute, my brother. Man, thank you, man. Thank you. Listen, I want to jump right into it. What song, what year that made you fall in love with hip hop?
That's a great question. I mean, like I just said to you, I started DJing when I was 12. I'm 54, so 42 years of DJing. But I probably fell in love with hip hop, you know, from the very, very beginning. Like, from the, some people say the very first hip hop song is "Rapper's Delight" by the Sugar Hill Gang that came out in 1979. There was 3 hip hop songs that came out in 1979. Y'all gonna get a history lesson today. There was 3 hip hop records that came out in 1979. You had "Rapper's Delight" by the Sugar Hill Gang. You had "Spoonin' Rap" by Spoonie G, and then you had "King Tim III" by the Fatback Band. So it all depends on who you ask, which one of those records was the first hip hop record. But technically, for me, I feel like "Rapper's Delight" was the very first hip hop record. But they all came out in 1979. So the minute that "Rapper's Delight" came out, hey yo, see somebody trying to touch my 40 dog 4040 personality jock is King Tim III. Don't touch my knowledge. 40 dog 4040 personality jock is AKA King Tim III by the Fatback Band. Hey yo, 40 dog 4040, chill out before we put you in the closet, man, and get you out of this live. Don't touch my knowledge. So anyway, so King Tim III is personality jock. Don't do this to me. So in any event, depending on who you're asking, one of those 3 records came out at the same time in 1979. So my thing is, I fell in love with hip hop from the very beginning with records like King Tim III that I just mentioned, and "Spoonin' Rap" by Spoonie G, and "Rapper's Delight." But I started DJing, through my uncle Barry, and my next door neighbor Anthony. May both of them rest in peace. They was DJing kind of like in the disco, what we call the disco breakbeat era. So that was at the time when you heard records like "Good Times" by Chic, and the DJs would cut up "Good Times," boom, boom, "Good Times," if you know that song. And that was still the early stages of hip hop, and that's what we call the disco era. So from the very beginning that hip hop was really kind of incepted, I fell in love with it.
Got you. What high school did you go to?
I went to shout out to BK Chef Ed on the check-in. What's good? I went to Sarah J. Hill High School in Brooklyn. And it's crazy because I don't know if they do this. I don't know if they do this now with the high schools in New York. But at that time, if you didn't get accepted into the school that you applied for, you would have to go to what's called your zone school.
They still do it.
The school that's nearest to your area or whatever. So they still do that.
They still do that.
Okay. So I applied to go to a school called Edward R. Murrow High School. And Edward R. Murrow High School was a high school for radio broadcasting. And when I didn't get accepted to Edward R. Murrow, I had to go to my zone school, which was Sarah J. Hill High School. And at that time, Sarah J. Hill High School was a high school for cosmetology. It was a high school for doing hair and doing makeup and hair and all of that. That's what Sarah J. Hill was known for at that time, back in the late 70s, early 80s, and in the early 80s, it was a school known for cosmetology. So, that's the school that I went to. So, some people from Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn, where I'm from, your zone school was either Sarah J. Hill or your zone school was Boys and Girls High School, but my zone school was Sarah J. Hill High School, which was a school for cosmetology. But I lucked up because when I got to Sarah J. Hill, that's when I first met Big Daddy Kane. We both went to the same zone school, to Sarah J. Hill High School.
He wasn't going there for cosmetology either.
Nah, that was his zone school. That was both our zone school. So that's where I met Kane at, Big Daddy Kane at Sarah J. Hill High School. And then, just a quick fast forward, then I eventually got on Hot 97 in 1993. And I got on Hot 97, which was radio broadcasting. So basically, Edward R. Murrow, which was the school that I applied for radio broadcasting that didn't accept me. Screw you. I got into radio broadcasting anyway later on down the line by being on Hot 97 for 21 years, you know, from 1993 to 2014. So I didn't really even need Edward R. Murrow High School. I got on radio eventually on my own.
Without it. Salute.
Right.
Salute. Salute. How many albums did you put out with Kane?
Me and Kane, we put out 6 albums together from 1988 to 1994. We put out 6 albums together. The first album was Long Live the Kane. The second album was It's a Big Daddy Thing. The third album was Taste the Chocolate. The fourth album was Prince of Darkness.
Jeez.
The fifth album was I'm trying to name them. I know Looks Like a Job For was another album that we did. Oh, and then the 6th album was Daddy's Home. Yeah, so we put out 6 albums from 1988 to 1994.
In doing those albums and touring with Big Daddy Kane, do you have a favorite tour moment? Being on the road with Kane?
Well, I'll tell y'all one funny tour moment. Shout out to Robbie Rob on the check-in. One tour moment. We had went to Europe, and this was like our first time ever going to Europe. We was in London, our first European tour, and that was when we went to Europe. This was definitely '88, and when we went to Europe, that was my first experience having sex with a girl on the road. You know what I mean? So that was my first time breaking my virginity as far as having sex with a girl on the road, was in Europe. So
that's a story.
But back then, don't ask me why FloWay, but back then, the kind of underwear that I was wearing was like tiger print underwear. I used to wear like the tiger print underwear, not the boxes neither.
Oh my God.
The tighty whities underwears, bro. But it was like leopard print, the black and yellow, and I had all different flavors. So that was my first experience having sex with a girl on the road in Europe. Kane, Scoop, and Scrap, they saw me wearing the tiger print briefs, you know, and so they started calling me Nasty African. So if you look on the second album of It's a Big Daddy Thing that came out in 1989, on the back of the album, you'll see all of our pictures on the back of the album, and all of us have like a code name, like a slang name. And my slang name was N.A., Nasty African, and that's why they called me Nasty African.
Jesus.
So that's just one of many stories, bro.
Listen, at least you didn't. But look, you could say, "Hey, listen, I didn't lose my virginity in Brooklyn." You could say I didn't lose my virginity in Brooklyn.
I
you
feel
could
like
say that I didn't lose my virginity in Brooklyn. So hey,
I feel like maybe I should have lost. Well, remember, I'm saying that was my first experience losing virginity on the road.
Okay.
Not my first time losing virginity, period. Just my first time losing my virginity on the road, having sex on the road.
Got you.
But that's where I got the name. If people on the live remember when Kane used to call me Nasty African, that's where the name came from. Because I used to wear leopard drawers, underwear.
That was some freaky shit.
The tidy whities, man.
Listen, did she like it? That's all that matters. She liked it.
I don't know. I don't know what made me be it. You know, I was a teenager at the time. You know, teenagers, you're a teenage. I mean, I know it's different growing up now than when I grew up back in the 80s, but you know, you be a teenager and you just trying and doing different things. And so, I don't know. That was like what I thought was the fly thing to do. Like, you know, I'm gonna wear some leopard underwear, so I'm with a chick. They see me with the leopard drawers on. Like, I don't know, bro.
You trying to be fresh. Somebody said they putting that on the T-shirt.
Somebody said what?
They putting that on the T-shirt.
Yeah, like, you know, like that was, I don't know, man. Between that and wanting to have a mustache so fast, wanting to grow a mustache so fast, I was so quick to try to be a man at a young age, trying to get a mustache. Now, I don't even like hair on my face now. Like, I respect to all the brothers like you that got the beards and all that. I can't stand hair on my face. But when I was younger, I used to fiend to have a mustache because I wanted to look grown. So I don't know.
Mm-mm. As you get older, you want to look younger? Is that what it is?
I don't know if it's looking younger, Flo. I just feel like in my older age, I don't want no hair on my face. I don't like no hair on my head. I don't like no hair on my face. It irritates me, man, to the fullest. Like it doesn't. I don't like no hair on my face at all. So, I don't know.
Keep it clean. Keep it clean. Well, I'm not there yet. I'm trying to keep it on my hair. Until I start losing it, then that's when I cut it all off.
Say it again.
I said I'm gonna keep it on my hair until I start losing it. That's when I cut it all off.
Yeah. So so you're gonna keep it until you lose it, or you're gonna keep it until you start using the Beijing and the Just for Men?
No. Until I lose it. Once it start to go away, like the men in my family, it go away in the middle here first. So once it start to go away there in the top, it's over. I'm gonna take it right on off then.
Yeah, man. I mean, I don't know, man. As I got older, the more I got older, it's just like, man, get rid of the hair. And it's like I said, for me, it's not even trying to be young. It's just that's my personality pretty much. And I'm just, knock on wood, I'm just blessed. 54, no gray hairs, no fake hairlines, no, I'm just blessed at 54 that I don't have to try to look like somebody that I'm not. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Let's talk Notorious B.I.G. for a minute. You were very instrumental in his career. Everyone knows that. What was your thoughts? What was the record that you first heard Big, and what was your thoughts? It was the Big Daddy Kane record, right?
Yeah, the first joint that I heard from Big was a demo. Mm-hmm. The first joint I heard from Big was a demo, and it was 50 grand. It was 50 grand, which was Biggie's first DJ. He played the demo for me, and for shout out to anybody that saw the Biggie documentary, that I Got a Story to Tell.
Dope. Super dope.
He played the demo for me. I'm gonna play the demo on the live right now, real quick. 1 second. Let me unplug my laptop. Let me unplug the Bible. The Bible is here. The Bible.
Jesus. It's a lot of music in there.
So, hold on, Flo. So, yeah, so Biggie's first DJ, 50 grand, played me this demo with Biggie rapping on it. And ironically, this was 1991. And ironically, when he played the demo for me, Biggie was rapping to the same beat that me and Big Daddy Kane used for Ain't No Half Stepping. The same sample. The sample was a song called Blind Alley by a group called The Emotions. So Biggie was actually rapping to the same sample that me and Kane used for Ain't No Half Stepping. So here's the demo. Here's the actual original demo that I first heard from Big. Check it out.
Yo, we got DJ 50 grand, Big D, RC, Amp Money, and the undisputed B.I.G. That's me. A whole lot of niggas want Big to make a demo tape, especially that bum-ass nigga This going out to you, nigga. Recognize. Yo, 50, what's this? It's a demo. It's a demo. It's a demo. It's a demo. A real demo. It's a 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 demo. Murderer, mass mayhem maker. B.I.G.'s on the mic, call the Undertaker. Make an appointment, schedule an interview. Because you know what big man's about to do. 50 grand on the check seat at the right seat. Brothers want to hear the words big man speak. The microphone I'm ripping, the burner got the clipping, slamming them seeds like Scott.
That's 1991. 1991, Flo. That was the first demo I heard from Big. That was the first joint I heard from Big. And when I heard that, it was like hearing Big Daddy Kane all over again. That's not a Coogee rap sample. Y'all young as y'all need to chill out.
Don't test C tonight, man. Sample. Don't test. Please leave C alone tonight. He on it tonight, man.
James 646 Williams. That's not a Coogee rap sample. That's a Big Daddy Kane sample. So that was the first joint I heard that Biggie's first DJ 50 grand played for me. When I heard that, it was like hearing Big Daddy Kane all over again. So, 50 grand put me in touch with Big, and then we recreated the demo for the Source magazine for.
Yeah, because the version that we hear today it's a little less raspy. The version that we hear today is a little more cleaned up.
Say it again?
I said, yeah, because the version that we hear today is a little more cleaned up.
Right, it's a little bit more cleaned up. Yeah, that's the straight basement demo from from 50 Grand's basement. That's the original demo. I don't even, the one that we redid, I don't even have that no more. I don't even own that. I don't even have it. Because to me, it's like, that was what we gave the Source magazine. And that wasn't the original authentic demo. The one that I just played you was the original authentic demo. So my thing is, as long as I got that, I don't even need the redone version.
Redone version. It's so authentic. What was your first meeting with Big like?
Yeah, my first meeting with him was at my house. And no, my first meeting with him was it? No, I think it was at 50 Grand's house. It was at 50 Grand's house, Biggie's first DJ, 50 Grand's house. And I explained to Biggie that we're going to redo the demo at my house. Because at that time, I lived around the corner from 50 Grand. I was still living in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn at the time. And I told 50 Grand and Biggie that we're going to redo the demo, make it nice and clean. We're going to do it at my house. And I'm going to send it to Mister Cee at the Source magazine. And Biggie was like, yo, man, you know, don't be promising me nothing, man. If you can't do it. You know, Biggie was very shy when I first met him, but he would always talk with his head down and just be like, yo, bro, don't be telling me you're going to do something, man. If you can't do it, you know, just. And I'm like, bro, we're going to submit it to the Source magazine for unsigned hype, and we're going to take it from there and see what happens. And that's what I did.
Wow. Wow. It's hard to believe. I've heard a few people say that Big was shy. It's hard to believe that, especially the way he rapped and the way he flowed on records. It's just hard to believe that he was a shy dude like that.
Yeah, he was very, very shy, very one-worded, two-worded. Even the first meeting, with me, him, and Puff at when we met at Uptown Records. Because a lot of people don't know, Biggie was originally signed to Uptown. He was not signed to Bad Boy first. He was signed to Uptown. Right. And when we had our first meeting at Uptown, Biggie let me do all the talking. He was shy. He was like, yo, I ain't gonna say nothing, you know, just do all you know, just whatever you say, see, whatever. Biggie didn't even know who Puff was when we first met with Puff. He didn't even know who. I had to explain to Big who Puff was. So I had to tell Big that, hey, you know, Puff used to be a dancer. And at that time, Puff was really famously known for doing the celebrity basketball game that ended with people getting trampled. I don't know if you know that story, that he had an infamous celebrity basketball game in the early 90s, Puff did, and people got trampled at the game, and a lot of people got killed and got trampled. Mm-hmm. So Puff was kind of like infamously known about that. So I had to explain to Big, yo, he used to be a dancer, and he was the one it was at City College, and he was involved in the City College basketball game. And so when I said that, Big was like, oh, okay, I know, okay, I heard the Duke, okay, you know. So I'm like, we go to Uptown, and Big was like, yo, you just do all the talking. So when Big, Puff was trying to get Big to talk, and he wouldn't talk. And then, but he told Big to kick a rhyme.
And then he spit.
And when he kicked the rhyme, then Puff was like, yo, man, I can have a record out on you by the summer. Would you be cool with that? And then Big was like, yo, man, just talk to Cee, man. Whatever Cee say, you know, just talk to Cee, you know. Everything was like, at that early stage, everything was thrown to me.
Can you recall what rhyme he spit?
I do not remember the rhyme.
Wow.
It might have been the Microphone Murderer demo. It might have been that. I don't remember the rhyme. I know after he kicked it, because it was a cappella. And after he kicked it, Puff was like, yo, I can have a record out on you by the summer. Would you be cool with that? And he was like, yo, man, talk to Cee, man, you know. The crazy thing is that the other story that a lot of people don't know is that I was actually shopping Big. I was getting ready to put out I was trying to put out an album myself. I'm gonna play another song for you. I'm gonna give you another treat on your live tonight. So I was shopping. I was trying to shop my own album, the Mister Cee album. And hold on. Okay, so yo, I was shopping a Mister Cee album, because at that time, this is still 91, 90, it's like 92 now. You had people like Pete Rock from Pete Rock and C.L. Smooth. He had like his own record out called The Creator. You had Kid Capri that had an album out called The Tape. You had Terminator X from Public Enemy. He had his own album out. So I was trying to do a Mister Cee album. And I was shopping a 5-song demo to different record labels. One of the songs was actually me rhyming. I don't have the song, so don't ask me to play it. I don't have the song on my laptop.
Jeez.
There was actually a song that I was rapping on. There was a song that I did with Blase Blase. I don't know if you remember Blase Blase, but Blase Blase had a big record in the 90s called When the East is in the House. Oh my God, Danger. They had this big record.
I don't remember it.
Do you remember it or you don't?
I don't.
Okay, let me play that for you first. So, and I was the actually road manager. Okay, this is the Blase Blase record that was really big in the 90s. It's called Danger, but we know it as When the East is in the House. When you hear it, I guarantee you know it. Listen.
Oh my God. When the East is in the house. Oh my God. When the East is in the house. Oh my God. Oh my God. Put out the word, Blase, Hazy verbs, surge, most preferred from the verbs and words I finesse. Try your best to diagnose. When I hope you get too close.
I've heard it.
Okay, this was a big record in the 90s, and I was actually their road manager. A lot of people don't know that. It's a lot of history of Mister Cee. I was actually their road manager. So anyway, I had a Mister Cee demo to shop my album. There was one song with me rapping on it. There was one song with Blase Blase. The song was called Jackpot. I don't have that in my laptop. And then there was a song that Biggie had that I did with Big called Biggie Got the Hype Shit. All right? So I'm shopping the album, the 5-song demo, and everybody's like, yo, man, the songs is all right, but who's this Biggie Smalls dude on the demo? So me shopping my album turned into, from me shopping my album to everybody asking about who's this Biggie dude, who's this Biggie Got the Hype Shit, who's this dude? So basically the record labels was like, yo, we don't care about your album. We want to know about the Biggie dude. So this is the joint that I was shopping for the Mister Cee album. This joint is not available nowhere. You can't find it. It's not available nowhere. And if you do find it online, it probably came from when I played it on Hot 97, and it got like Hot 97 tags on it, all over it. So this is called Biggie Got the Hype Shit. And this was on Mister Cee's album demo 1992. Listen.
Well, who is Biggie Smalls?
Notorious Biggie Smalls in full effect. Got my DJ 50 grand in the house. I'ma drop a nice long rhyme on the phone track. You know how we get there. But cut your head and say damn. When the words from big man explode like an ash can while DJ 50 grand kick beats like Van Dam. That fighting ass nigga introducing a supreme bigger nigga. Yes, it's a beat. I break with the bubbles. But much love this bitch ass of hoes. Bust out your bone. Break your backbone. Send your backbone back.
So that's why people was like, we don't care about your album. We want to know who this dude is. And that was the song that I had from the Mister Cee album demo. And so I already had a buzz going with Big, with people like Def Jam Records and people from the Jive Records and different record companies hollering at me with Big for the album, for the Mister Cee album. And then the Source magazine came up, and then I submitted Biggie's demo that he did with 50 grand for the Source magazine. But a lot of people don't know about the Mister Cee album story because everything started picking up from the demo that we submitted to the Source magazine.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, you getting some jewels tonight, Flo.
Wow.
You getting some jewels.
Exclusive. I like this, man. See, so being that Big was signed, I'm always, it gets a little fuzzy. I study a lot with Big, right? And I watch a lot of the documentaries, but it gets a little fuzzy with me when it comes to that he was signed to Uptown, and a part of the album Ready to Die that she was one of the executive producers on was already, like, half the album was already done, right? Before he left Uptown?
Yeah, so basically, so for everybody that's on the live, right? And even you, FloWay, for everybody that's on the live, when you get a minute, I'm gonna drop some. Hey, yo, Clive, shout out to my good friend Clive Shaw on the check-in. Clive, I see you. It's good. For everybody that's on this live and for FloWay, give you a little history. I want y'all to do some homework. When you get a minute, you know, I want y'all to take a listen to Ready to Die album. And when you listen to Ready to Die album, when you listen to a record like Give Me the Loot, when you listen to a record like the actual song Ready to Die, you're going to hear Biggie's voice very high pitch. His voice is very high pitch. I'm ready to die. And you know, like, my man in the crib, you had to do a bid. Like, his voice is very different.
You can see the growth. You can hear the growth in the album. Right.
Now, it's not even growth. I'm going to break it down to you. So when you listen to songs like that compared to Who Shot Ya, Juicy, Big Papa, Unbelievable, those 4 songs that I just mentioned, his voice sounds much deeper. Who Shot Ya? You know what I mean? Like, it was all a dream. It's like his voice is more deeper. So what happened was, half of the Ready to Die album, he was signed to Uptown. Half of the Ready to Die album was with Uptown Records. He recorded it with Puff, with Uptown. Then what happened was Andre Harrell basically fired Puff from Uptown. Then when he fired Puff, MCA, around the same time, MCA had told Andre Harrell they got to drop Biggie off the label.
Right.
Because Biggie did a song called Dreams of Effing a R&B Bitch. If y'all know about that song.
That's my shit.
So when Biggie did the Dreams of Effing a R&B Bitch record, he was disrespecting artists that was on MCA, like Patti LaBelle, Raven Simone, who was a kid at the time. He talked about he want to have sex with these women. So the powers that be at MCA told Andre Harrell, this dude Biggie is being disrespectful. You got to drop him. So they dropped Big off of MCA, and then they fired Puff. Now, they didn't fire Puff because of the Big record. They fired Puff because of other reasons. But half of the album was already done. Half of the Ready to Die album was done for Uptown. So then, maybe a half a year, 8 months later, Puff gets the deal with Clive Davis and Arista, and they do the Bad Boy deal with Clive Davis and Arista. And so Puff had to make a decision. Do I scrap the whole first half of Ready to Die? Do I redo the whole album over? Or do I buy those songs? Because technically, Puff didn't own the songs. Andre Harrell owned them.
Facts.
So Puff had to make a decision. Do I buy the songs from Andre and then just finish the rest of the recording of Ready to Die? And that's exactly what Puff did. He brought the masters from Andre, the first half of the Ready to Die album. He brought it from Andre and then finished recording with Big the other half of the album. And what happened in that process was simply Biggie's voice just got deeper because Biggie was a kid.
Right, you can hear it. You can hear it in songs like Give Me the Loot, Party and Bullshit. You can hear that. You can hear the difference. Like when you said it, it automatically clicked to me.
So Biggie's voice got deeper with Juicy, Big Papa, Unbelievable, Who Shot Ya. His voice just naturally got deeper. So, but it's rumored that Puff brought those songs for Andre Harrell for like $1 million. That's the rumor.
Sheesh. Well, he had got what, $5 million? I think he had got from Clive Davis. So I don't remember what the initial deal was, but it's a rumor that he brought it. Some people say 800,000, some people say $1 million. But at the end of the day, no matter what he brought it from Andre for, it was still a bargain because look what Ready to Die did. Jesus.
So, but yeah, when y'all listen to that Ready to Die, then you'll see the difference in his voice on certain songs because it was recorded. The Ready to Die album was basically recorded in a 2-year time period, a 1.5-year time period.
Can you recall the energy in New York at the time that Ready to Die was released?
Well, basically, hands down, Biggie brung the East Coast. Biggie brung East Coast hip hop back to life. Hands down, single-handedly, he brung East Coast hip hop, not just New York, but just East Coast. He brung it back because Snoop Dogg and Dre was killing us, with the Chronic and the Chronic album and the Doggy Style album. They was killing us. So, and we had some successful rappers from the East Coast. Like we have some success, but they wasn't, they were successful, but they wasn't like superstars. You know what I'm saying? Like, like we had the Onyx of the world. We had the Nice and Smooths of the world. We had Leaders of the New School. if there was one superstar group at the time, you know, probably Naughty by Nature was that one superstar group, and then Wu-Tang was that other superstar group. But you know, as far as a solo act, even Nas, you know, Nas came out, you know, 90. When did Nas come out? 90. Okay, Big came out in 94. Nas came out, yeah, about around the same time. So, but Big just basically single-handedly, you know, just brought East Coast hip hop back to life. You know, just gave us some life, because we was, like I said, we had successful rappers, but we didn't have the superstars that Dre and Snoop and that whole Death Row was. So that just tells you right there what the climate was. It was just, we was happy. Everything was B.I.G., 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 man. We in every car, every radio station, every mixtape was all about B.I.G. at the time. Every club, B.I.G. That's what it was.
How did you hear about Big's passing? Where were you at the time?
Well, if you saw the documentary, shout out to anybody that watched the I Got a Story to Tell documentary. Fred Bugs, legendary New York radio personality. He's known as Bugsy.
That's my guy.
He called me in the middle of the night on the morning of March 9th, and he told me that he heard that Biggie got shot in L.A. and I need to look into it. And I'm like, yo, Bugs, you bugging, man. Get out of here, man. I'm going back to sleep. But when you hear some news like that in the middle of the night, you can't go back to sleep. It kind of just throws you off. And so I'm tossing and turning, trying to fight my way back to sleep. And then as I'm tossing and turning in the bed, I just see a picture of Big, like a silhouette of Big looking at me. In the middle, it was like daybreak. In the middle of the night going into daybreak, I see a silhouette of Big looking at me. But it was actually Biggie's Juicy plaque. Because at that time, in my crib in Bed-Stuy, I had a Biggie plaque on the opposite wall in my bedroom. And so and Big's picture was on the Juicy plaque, gold album plaque. And Big's face was like literally looking at me from the plaque. And that's what made me just say, I got to get up and see what's going on. So I got up, and something just told me to take a drive to Hot 97, and I took a cab and went to Hot 97. And when I got there, that's when the reality hit that he had passed away. You know, Angie Martinez was there and Lisa Evers was there. And that's when the reality settled in. And then we was all crying up there, me, Angie Martinez, and Lisa Evers. But what we decided to do was just go on air. Actually, our program director at the time, Tracy Clordy, she just gave us a suggestion like, y'all should just go on air. It probably would be therapy for y'all to go on the air and just talk about him and talk about him to the listeners. And that's exactly what we did. We just went on the air and we let the listeners call in. There was a lot of crying, a lot of grieving. A lot of celebs called in that day. People, you know, that was all in LA for the Soul Train Awards. They called in. But it was like, it was very sad, but it was also therapeutic because, you know, we got to grieve and to talk about our guy, you know what I mean? And to share it, you know, with the listeners, and they got to grieve their hero as well. So I think that was the best thing we could have did that day, you know?
Do you recall your last conversation?
Well, the last time I saw Big alive, last time I spoke to him, and the last time I saw him alive, he was in the hospital. This is when he was in the car accident. If anybody remembers when Biggie was in the car accident with Lil C's, even if you saw the Hypnotized video, he's actually walking around with a cane in the Hypnotized video because he was still recovering from his car accident with him and Lil C's, that they was in a car accident. And that's the last time I saw Big. I went to Jersey to see him in the hospital. And we always had this greeting when I would see him or talk to him. My last name is LeBron. His last name is Wallace. So anytime we would greet each other on the phone, or if we would see each other in person, he would always call me LeBro. Even though my last name is LeBron, he would be like, LeBro. And I'd be like, Wallace. Like, that's how we always greeted each other. And so I remember going in, walking in that hospital room. Yo, he had a big hospital room. That room looked like a suite. Yeah, he had like a big hospital room, bro. I've never seen a hospital room that big.
It was in New York?
It was in Jersey. And I can't remember the name of the hospital, so But yo, it looked like that hospital looked like a suite, bro.
Jeez.
A big, and he had the corner. I remember it was the corner, the corner of the floor. He would, you had to go all the way to the end of the hallway to his room. It was like a corner office. It looked like it was as big as it was a big ass hospital room. But that was the last time that I saw him alive and spoke to him, and we just had small talk. It was nothing. It was nothing greatly important that was said. We was just having small talk, talking about him getting back on his feet and so on and so forth. And we was, talking about Cee's, talking about how he crashed the car, or whatever the case is, joking on Cee's. And it was just me and him. There was nobody there but me and him. And I stayed with him maybe 45 minutes to an hour, but it was a lot of small talk. Nothing. We didn't even talk about music too much. We really didn't. It was just small talk. And that was the last time I seen him. Talk to him. You all right, Flo? You all right?
I'm good, man. You give me a story here, man. Wow.
Say it again.
I say you're giving us a story here.
Oh,
okay. Can you elaborate how important a DJ is to an artist's career?
Well, the DJ is definitely important to the artist's career. More, now more than ever. I feel like the DJs are not appreciated as much as they should be. But I feel like the DJ is important now more than ever, especially with COVID going on, right? So you got COVID going on, and a lot of these artists can't get to the radio stations to get their record played. A lot of these artists can't get to a concert and perform these records that they want to break. So now you need the DJ more than ever. Of course, you got social media, you got your TikToks, you got all of that in the world. But now with all these DJs going live, now you need the DJ more than ever to support your music. But it's the thing that I don't like to see. There's a couple of things I don't like to see with the artists not getting recognized. I don't like that a lot of rappers don't acknowledge their DJ. So you got rappers, the most famous rappers in the world, they got a DJ that DJs for them at concerts, but they don't acknowledge them. They don't shout their name out on records. They don't even acknowledge them. It used to be a time, and I'm not saying this, I don't want to come off like the old man, but the era that I came from in hip hop, Big Daddy Kane would write a rhyme and then he would put Mister Cee in the lyric. You know what I'm saying? Or Rakim. It was Eric B and Rakim, and it was Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince. Or Run DMC would mention Jam Master Jay in a rhyme. Or Guru would mention DJ Premier in a rhyme. Right? Premier name wasn't even a part of Gang Starr, but Guru made sure he would mention Premier name in the rhyme. You don't even hear that with these rappers today. And every rapper got a DJ. Every last one of them. The most famous.
And when they get them awards, when they get them trophies, you don't hear them think no DJ at all.
And your show does not come off without the DJ. So the only rapper that I see acknowledge his DJ is Drake. Because Drake's DJ name is Future. And if you listen to a lot of Drake's records, he always shouts out Future in the record. And people think when he's talking about Future, they think he's talking about Future the rapper. A lot of rhymes that Drake is saying, he's actually talking about Future, his DJ. So Drake is probably the only one that acknowledges.
I've seen Wayne do it too.
You know what I mean? So
Wayne's done it too with DJ T. Lewis. That's my guy.
So, so a lot of these rappers don't acknowledge their DJ enough. Even with the verses, salute to Swiss Beats, salute to Timbaland. Both of them are legendary DJs, but they both come from the essence of DJing. And to me, I do not like the fact in the verses that you see the artists, but their DJ is either not seen or they're in the background and they're not acknowledged in the verses. I don't like that. Because if Brandy and Monica is doing the verses and they both got their DJ there, they have to drop the record at the right time to get the right response in that verses for them to look good.
Correct.
So sometimes it falls on the artist, sometimes it falls on the setup, the way things are set up. So back to the verses, I don't like the fact that the DJ is not acknowledged. Even if, I know sometimes in the verses, they'll have a DJ start the verses off, and then they have a DJ that do a verses after party. That, I'm with that. But during the verses, come on, man, acknowledge your DJ at some point during the verses, because if they're not dropping your record at the right time during that versus battle, you're not looking good. So those are the points. Those are a couple of things that I don't like to see in the art of the DJ not being recognized. But the DJ is definitely more important than ever. And it's really up to the DJ themselves to not sell themselves short. Don't sell yourself short. Even if you're on a big platform to where you're getting a look, make sure you get the proper look. You know, and I know there's a lot of DJs that probably they feel like I'm not in position to say what I want. Yeah, you are. Because if you don't speak up, then how's somebody going to know what you like and what you don't like? You feel what I'm saying? So
my grandma used to say, closed mouth don't get fed.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter how popular you are or how big of a DJ you are. Speak your mind about what you want, or how you feel like you want your role to be played in whatever you're trying to do. Speak up, because you're never going to get anything done unless you speak up as a DJ and make sure that you're represented the right way. So that's how I feel about that.
Great advice to all the DJs out there. It's a lot of DJs on the check-in. See, you was on Hot 97 for 21 years, right? 21
years.
If you didn't go through what you went through in 2011 and 2013, would you have still been on Hot? Or?
Yeah, I definitely would have still been on Hot 97. If I didn't, you know, my story is well documented. Everybody, you know, that probably know my story. If I didn't go through the setbacks that I went through in 2011 and 2013, I definitely probably would have still been at Hot 97. And but that's not, you know, a lot of people think I left Hot 97 because of that. That's not why I left Hot 97. And people think that I got fired from Hot 97. People really don't know the real story of why I left Hot 97. They kind of, because everything kind of happened around the time when everything was going on with my personal life. When I left Hot 97, the other stuff with my personal life was going on. So people think that I left because of what was going on in my personal life. Because there was a time when if you remember I left, then I came back the next day. I resigned and I came back. Right. But when I left in 2014, I left on my own terms. Like, I just unexpectedly, I did the Throwback at Noon without no warning, without anybody, without me telling a soul at Hot 97. I got on the air at the Throwback at Noon on November 21st, 2014. I just went on the air and said, this is my last show. I didn't tell
no one knew, not Flex, nobody
I didn't tell nobody. You hear me? You hear me? I didn't tell a soul. There was only one person on earth that knew what I was going to do, and that was my best friend, Hollywood, that rolls with me every time I do parties, childhood friend. He knew from the day before, he knew that I was going in there and I was going to resign. But I did not tell a soul. I didn't tell management. I didn't tell Flex. I didn't tell absolutely nobody when I resigned. And the reason why I resigned was because I saw the station going in a different direction as far as them starting to bring in new talent. And I felt like if I didn't leave at the time that I left, somebody was going to eventually tap me on the shoulder and be like, yo, it's your time. You got to break out. So I felt it coming. And so, you know, it's like what Jay-Z said, I don't get dropped. I drop the label.
Correct.
You know what I mean? And this is not a stab at Hot 97, but that's just how I felt. It's like I knew what was getting ready to happen with newer talent getting ready to come in. The powers that be at Hot 97 wanted to go in a different direction. And my thing is, it could have been in the next 6 months, it could have been in the next 8 months, and next year, 2 years, 5 years. My thing is, let me walk away from this now before somebody tap me on the shoulder and be like, yo, man, or we're going to take you off every day and just put you on once a week, or we're going to take you off every day and, you know, we're going to scale you back. My thing is, you have to know when it's time to walk away. Mm-hmm. And then the other thing too is, I was always big on, and this is something that Flex did know. I was always big that I didn't want to be at Hot 97 at 50 years old. It was always stuck in my head, and this is before anything happened with me getting arrested in 2011 and 2013. Way before that, I always had said in my mind, I want to leave Hot 97 by the time I'm 50. I don't want to be at Hot 97 at 50. That was always in my head. When I left Hot 97, I was 48. I'm sorry. Yeah, I was 48. I was 48 years old when I left Hot 97. So, so that was a part of it too. Me knowing that I'm getting ready to approach 50, then me knowing that the new blood is coming in, and I might
be on the chopping block.
I might be on the chopping block. I wasn't told that I was a chopping block. Wasn't told, but my thing is that you got to know when it's time to break out, when it's time to break. You got to know when to leave. You got to know when it's your time. And
Right.
so now I could have done it. The way I did it was, you know, the station didn't like the way that I did it because I told you I did it unexpectedly. So
Right.
I got escorted out the building. So when I made the announcement on the air, I was on the air. I did the throwback in noon for like 20 minutes. When we went into commercial, they told me, "Yo, see, you got to leave. You got to leave, man." And they escorted me out the building, which is cool. Which is cool because, like I said, I did it unexpectedly. I didn't inform management that I was doing it. So, but I wasn't disrespectful on that last day. I just said, "This is my last day. I will always love Hot 97." I was thanking the listeners or whatever, but I didn't inform management, so they felt the way about it, and they felt the way about it, and we made up. Maybe I'm gonna say 5 to 6 months later after that whole incident, we made up, and I apologized to everybody in upper management and everybody that was involved, and everything is cool. We kind of made up maybe 5, 6 months later, but I wasn't mad. I wasn't mad that they escorted me out. They felt the way that I left. It was more them being upset with me than me being upset with them, because I wasn't upset that I was leaving.
Right.
But they forgave me. I let the air clear for a while, and then I reached back to some important people in the building and in management, and we squashed everything, and everything got moved on. But it basically, I just felt that it was time, and it was the best thing. It's crazy because when I left, I was scared to death. I was scared to death because it's the fear of the unknown. You've been somewhere for 21 years, bro.
Comfortable.
And you don't know. I did that not knowing what my next move was going to be. I had no plan. I didn't know what I was going to do. Wow. I didn't know what my next move was going to be. I didn't have a job offer. I didn't have nothing in the can. So I will never forget when I left the station that day, I went to the parking lot, got in my car, and sat in my car for like 2 hours outside the parking lot, a couple of blocks from the station, sitting there like, "Okay, idiot, what you gonna do next?" Like, I just sat in my car for like 2 hours.
Did you think that your career was over at that time?
Nah,
like,
I never thought
everything
that.
was going through
I never thought that.
Did you ever think?
I never thought that. I never thought that. That I never thought. I never thought my career was over. Because you got to remember, you got to understand where I come from, bro. I come from Bed-Stuy. Bed-Stuy, do or die. You know what I mean? So that's always been the saying. Bed-Stuy, do or die. So one thing about me, I'm from Bed-Stuy, and I'm a Leo. So, coming from Bed-Stuy, it's like you don't quit. You don't quit. And me being a Leo, I'm a very aggressive person. Very aggressive. I'm not a person that sit back and wait. I'm very aggressive. So I never thought my career was over. I was just sitting in that car like, okay, Calvin, what you gonna do next?
How you gonna recover?
Yeah, this is my conscience talking to me. One side is Calvin, one side is Mister Cee. All right, Calvin, what you gonna do next? And I sat there for 2 hours. My phone was blowing up. Everybody and their mama hitting me up. I didn't answer nobody. I just sat in my car for like 2 hours, maybe 3, and just was like, what I'm gonna do. But during that whole time of sitting in that car, I was scared to death. Scared to death. It took like at least 3 days after November 21st, 2014. It took like 3 days after that to get myself into a flow of what I needed to do. That first 3 days, I sat in the house in the dark, scared to death, not knowing what my next move was going to be, and but as that first, second day, third day, I started picking it up and getting it together, and so I started putting my plan in place of what I needed to do as far as recreating myself. Because the thing is, Flo, is that, like I told you earlier, I knew I wanted to leave the station before 50, but I had a certain plan of what I wanted to do when I left. So when I left unexpected, the plan of what I wanted to do next was not in place. So now I left unexpected and I have no plan. So I just had to rush to figure out, because the plan of what I wanted to do was nowhere in sight. So I had to rush to think of another plan and put that in gear. And so that at maybe 3 days, I give it 3 to 5 days, then I started figuring it out and I started getting in gear of what I needed to do.
See, was you surprised at the people who turned their back on you at that time?
Well, you talk about the time I got arrested. The times I got arrested, 2011 and 2013. Yeah, I was a lot of people. There's some people that I don't speak to this day that I've had 25, 30 years of relationship with that turned their back on me, that I don't speak to this day. And then there's the people that turned their back and then they came back around because they saw that I didn't die, I didn't do, I didn't
go anywhere.
I wasn't finished out here, So, but and the crazy thing is, for the people that turned their back and they kind of came back to me, they think I'm letting it slide. I'm not letting it slide. It's just note to self. I just know what kind of person you are. It don't mean that I can't deal with you. It just let me know how far I can go with you. So there's some people that turned their back and then now I'm cool with them again, but they know, they have an understanding of knowing we can never have the relationship that we once had. You feel me? So they know that because I physically told them that. And then there's other people that note to self. I can deal with you, but I know that I can never rely on you or somebody being super, super close. And then there's some people that I just don't speak to at all, that will never hear from me or get any type of reception from me ever again in life. And because there was a lot of people that disappointed me during that time. A lot of people. And there's some people that I forgave. And then the other side too, FloWay, is that there's some people that have apologized to me. There's other people that came to me like, "Yo, see, I'm so sorry. I got caught up in the gram. I got caught up in social media. I was talking about you and I got caught up. I apologize." Would you? Those people that came to me and apologized, like a man and a woman did, like that apologized, I respect them more than anything, because
absolutely
they're admitting their wrongs. For them to admit their wrongs, be like, "Hey man, I got caught up, man. I'm sorry, man." But for the people that know that they're wrong, and I may still see them to this day, and we don't speak, they're so prideful not to just say 2 words. "I'm sorry." Just say 2 words. "I'm sorry."
Right.
We're never gonna be the same again, but you can't say 2 words because you know you messed up. But at the end of the day, Flo, it's like, out of what I went through, the one thing that saved me when I went through 2011, 2013, the one thing that saved me is this. You see my hands? You see what I'm doing, right? That's the DJ. The DJ. This is what saved me. And if I didn't have if I was a whack DJ, I would have been finished. If I was a whack DJ, I would have been finished out here. The only thing that saved me is the talent. Because in this business that we're in, sometimes the talent can save you. Sometimes the talent may not be able to save you. But for me, in my case, the talent, me being what people say great at what I do, that's what saved me. Because for people that really know me, you know, you've dealt with me on a business level or whatever the case is. For people that really know me, the other thing about why people wanted me to be finished too was I was an asshole. Like, you know, I was, you know, especially during my HOT97 run, I was an asshole to a lot of people too. So I didn't treat everybody the best way that I could have treated them. So when I went through what I went through in 2011 and 2013, a lot of people looked at that also as revenge. Oh, we're going to get back on the asshole because we had to deal with C before he got arrested because he was hot. Now that he got jammed up and he was an asshole, we can just leave him in the dirt. And so, not only, like I said, this saved me, but I also had to refix my whole get down, my whole mental, everything. I had to refix everything. You know, I was, you know, people would say I'm an asshole. People say I'm cocky. This is back then. I'm talking about way back then. They say I'm cocky, I'm an asshole, I'm arrogant. But what a lot of people don't understand about who I was at the time before I got arrested is I was just a guarded person that was hiding. I was hiding myself being arrogant, being an asshole. I was hiding that because I didn't want people to really see who I really was or people to know what I was really all about as far as the illegal activity and stuff that I was into. So I would hide who I really was with the arrogance, with the assholeness, and just, you know, being, you know, standoffish with people without letting people really into who I really am. Wow. And so that is a part of who I was back then to who I am now. Now, you already know everything I've been through. So it's like, if you're going to still hold it against me, or if you're going to still look at me in a certain way, then that's on you. That's not on me. Because everything that I've been through is well documented. So it's like, if you got the hang up, that's on you. My thing is like, I have nothing to hide. There's nothing that you can say or do against me that's going to hurt me. Because I already been hurt. You know, I've been hurt the worst. Like, you just look at what a so-called heterosexual man normally will go through. A heterosexual man don't normally go through what I went through. So it can't get no badder than what I went through. I didn't have it to where, you know, the transsexual that I was with had interviews and all of that, and a videotape of me being in a car with a transsexual. Bruh, sis, you can't do anything more to me than what's been done. Nothing more can be done than what's been done. So, and guess what? This year is coming up on 10 years since I've been arrested. It's been 10 years since that first time I got arrested. It's 2021. That's 10 years ago. Right. So if anything, how about this? If anything, how about somebody saying, you know what, see, since 2013, you ain't got jammed up. How about role reversing it and be like, hey, see, you ain't get jammed up since 2013. It's getting ready to be when I first got arrested. Well, the news came out in April 3rd of 2011, April 3rd of 2011. That's when the news broke. I had got arrested weeks ago prior, but the news broke April 3rd, or April 1st. It was like April Fool's Day. Matter of fact, it was a Friday. It was Friday, April Fool's Day, because I remember when it started breaking. And people at the station, people at HOT97 was like, yo, is this true? And I was like, yo, it's April Fool's Day, man. Nobody gonna believe that. Nah, that's not true. It's April Fool's Day. So the point I'm making is that it's coming up on 10 years since I've been through that. And I don't hear nobody, if anything, talk about how I haven't been in trouble for almost 10 years. You feel what I'm saying? So, you know, but however people want to hold on to that part of my life, you know, they can hold on to it. My thing is that it's there. I embrace it. I accept it. I can't change it. I ain't trying to change it. And either you like me or you love me or you ride or you don't ride. I don't have time to pick and choose who's going to ride with me and who don't ride with me. All I can be is me. And you accept me for who I am. And that's that. Now, there's been plenty of cats that has tried to use that against me, especially DJs.
To this day?
To this day, in 2021, there's DJs. Some of the most famous, some of the most legendary, some of the most recognizable, some of the most legendary DJs have used that against me to where if they see that I'm getting booked by a promoter, they'll call the promoter up. Yo, why you booking the gay guy? Word, you booking the gay guy? These are DJs that will call a promoter up. Yo, why you booking that guy? Why you booking the gay guy? They try to block me.
But who gives a fuck what you are?
I understand that, but I'm just telling you the climate. You got DJs that supposed to be comfortable in their own skin. They supposed to be the hottest DJs. They supposed to be the dopest DJs. They supposed to be the greatest dudes. They supposed to be incredible DJs. And they calling promoters, yo, why you book C, man? You know, why you book the gay guy, man? You know, like trying to put the bad stuff in the promoter ear. And the crazy thing is that they don't think I know, and the promoter comes right back and tell me, DJ such and such said this, DJ such and such said that. And the crazy thing, Flo, I speak to them and they don't even know what I know about them. They don't even know what I know about them. I speak to them like they don't even know. I speak to them like it's no care in the world. Because guess what? God is going to take care of them. And I don't want, you know what I mean? Like, God is going to take care of them, bro.
Right.
God going to deal with them. I don't have to deal with them.
Why even push your energy that way? Why even push your energy that way?
But no, and I know you promote parties, and I know you're an event planner and you do what you do. But yo, man, just like there's an old saying that a lot of promoters say, and I don't know if you say this, but it's an old saying: DJs come a dime a dozen. Guess what? So does promoters. So promoters come a dime a dozen. One promoter is hot 1 year, 2 years later, 3 years later, there's another hot promoter.
Mm-hmm.
But the promoter is going to come back to me and tell me what the DJ done said. So if you're coming back to me, if you're coming
feedback from you,
right? They're trying to get the feedback from me. You're trying to get me to lure in. I'm not going to lure in and tell you what I feel. Are you dumb? I'm not going to lure in because you're going to go back and tell him what I just said.
Right. He say.
Yeah, I'm not with all of that. One thing I never do, Flo, I never, ever, and you've dealt with me on the business level, I've never, ever talked bad about another DJ. Like say their name and said or something bad about another DJ. Never.
Never.
There's been promoters that call me, whether they book me or not. There's promoters that call me, yo, DJ, yo, I just booked DJ such and such. Yo, he was trash, see? He was trash, yo, he was garbage. I'm on the other line, like, in my head. I ain't saying this out loud. I'm on the other line in my head, like, what do you want me to do about it? Basically, you want me to talk bad about him because you're talking bad about him. You want me to talk bad about him so you're going to run back and tell him what I said.
Exactly.
Or what do you want me to do? You want me to tell you, well, you should have booked me. You know, I'm not doing all of that. So when the promoters call me and they say DJ such and such was trash, I'm like, word, yeah, word. All right, word. So
one word responses.
You know, but I never, and then some of the DJ, some DJs have turned on me when I went through what I went through. And there's some DJs that I don't speak to no more that have turned on me. Bro, I'll still play with them in the club. So you might have booked me and another DJ that I got a problem with because of what they did to me back in 2011, 2013, but I would never tell you I got an issue with that person. That's between me and that man. Mm-hmm. And I can still play with him.
You're gonna come through and do your thing like nothing.
I can still play with him. We can switch laptops. I can play with him. He can do what he do. We ain't gotta say a word to each other. But it's never me and him or me and her know what's going on. But I don't have to go to every promoter and be like, don't book this person or don't book that person or whatever the case is. I'm gonna show, if anything, I'm gonna show that person I got the issue with. I'm gonna show you I'm a bigger person than you. I'm gonna still play with you And it's going to make you feel even worse about yourself that I'm still playing with you, even though I don't have to talk to you.
Listen, and I've had DJs that come to me and be like, listen, I don't want to do this party with so-and-so. I don't want this person to go on before me. I don't want this person to go on after me. I don't do a party with this guy. I don't like this guy. You get a lot of that stuff on the regular just as a promoter. You be like, yo, listen, you dope, he's dope. I want you guys to do this party. I don't give a, you know what I mean? I don't give a shit about none of that.
Shout out to Shell Loving Life. That's my good friend right there, Shell Loving Life, on the check-in. But yeah, man, I don't talk negative about no DJ and all that old, I want to go on first, yo. I want to close. I don't, man. Bro, at 54, give me my bread. You tell me what time I'm going on and give me my bread. Give me the bag and let me know what time I'm going on. I don't care who I play with. I don't care if I go on before them, they go on after me. I don't care. Those days is long gone for me, man. I used to care about that type of stuff 20 years ago. I don't care about that stuff no more, man. Tell me what time I need to be there. You know, okay, I'm going on before this dude. I'm going on after this dude. Boom, boom, boom. And that's it, man. Like, nice and easy, man. Like, I'm not with the, I don't like to curse on the gram, but I ain't with the shits, man. I ain't with the shits. Let's just, you know, let me just do what I need to do and call it a night.
See, who's some of the people that stay solid?
Who's some of the what?
Who's some of the people that stay solid that has still supported you, that still had your back in the industry, if any? Some of the people that stay solid when you went through what you went through. One of the main cats. I'm just going to keep it on DJs. One of the main cats that probably stay solid the most is my boy DJ Naeem from Jersey. DJ NAIM. Mm-hmm. He has been super solid from day one. And it's crazy because when we met each other, we didn't like each other. But he has been super solid from day one. He never strayed away, never backed off, he always rode for me, you know. And so he got to be A1 on my list. Another cat that's been super solid is DJ Self, the Gwen Guard DJ Self. I will never forget when I first got arrested in 2011. Now remember, this is at the height of the HOT97 Power 105 beef. So when I got arrested the first time in 2011, you know, the Breakfast Club, they destroyed me. You know, them you know, Charlemagne and the rest of the crew, they destroyed me. So, but DJ Self, Sus One, DJ Nori, they shouted me out on Power 105. They was like, yo, big up to Mister Cee. We got your back. Boom, 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 boom. Now, remember, there was that whole radio station battle. For them to do that. On that station?
On that station during that time. The crazy thing is, here's the ill thing. DJ Self, Sus One, Nori shouted me out, and they got suspended. And the station suspended them for shouting me out. I will never, as long as I live, I will never forget them dudes for doing that for me. They risked getting suspended. They didn't know they were going to get suspended. Matter of fact, no. Hold on. Only Self got suspended. 3 of them shouted me out. Only Self got suspended. That's the story.
Because of Self slot at that time?
No, I think they got to Self because of they know me and Self. They know me and Self's relationship. The crazy thing is that I've known Nori longer than I've known Self, but they looked at it like me and Self is close, so let's hit them where it hurts and suspend the dude that she is closest with. I think that's what made them do it with Self. But little do they know that I've known Nori longer than I've known Self.
Wow.
But they suspended Self. All 3 of them shouted me, but they suspended Self. I will never forget them 3 dudes for doing that. For as long as I live, I will never forget them for doing that. I will never forget that. But just overall, Self has always held me down. Just always, always, always held me down. And I will never, I will never forget. Now, from a HOT97 standpoint, I will never forget how Flex and Ebro held me down. You know, Flex with the, yo, don't believe it, it's not true. You know, Flex was dropping bombs. Flex was saying it's not true for like 2 years. You know what I mean? Like, until the
Flex
second time I got arrested.
Man.
And so when I got arrested the second time, I'll never forget. Flex called me. He was like, "Yo, bro, come on, man. You gotta tell the truth, man. Come on, man. Like, you gotta bring it on in." So, but Self and Ebro held me down crazy. And I know there's a lot of people that have came to me, and I'm talking about back then. They came to me and was like, you know, Flex and Ebro's only holding you down for their own benefit. They don't really got love for you. Look, I don't care. It doesn't matter what's the reason why they holding me down. The fact that they're holding me down is a reason enough. Whether they got their own agenda, whether they want to make the station look bigger, I don't care. That didn't matter to me. They held me down more than other people at the station at that time that didn't hold me down. So for that, I'm forever grateful to Flex and Ebro for holding me down at that dark time. Yo, I got so many stories, man. I'll tell you another story about what I went through at that time. I'll tell you two stories about what I went through at that time at Hot 97. When I first got arrested in 2011, I sent the email out to the whole company, to the whole Hot 97, the whole MS New York, MS Broadcasting, and I said in the email, it basically I'm kind of hypothetically saying what I said in the email, but it was basically, hey, I apologize for putting everybody through this. I can't really talk about my case right now, but I'm sorry if this is putting you and your family in jeopardy. I'm sorry about this. Boom, 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 boom. I can't talk about it further, but I'm very sorry about me putting everybody through this, right? I sent this email to everybody at Hot 97, the whole company. You hear me?
Mm-hmm. I'm listening.
This is 2011. Somebody forward the email to the Breakfast Club. Somebody in Hot 97 forward the email to the Breakfast Club.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
I repeat, I sent an apologetic email to the whole Hot 97 company. All the bosses, everybody. I never admitted, because in 2011, I didn't admit that I didn't admit about my activity. I didn't admit to it 2 years later, in 2013.
Right.
I sent the company an email apologizing. I didn't admit about what I did. I just said, yo, I'm sorry I put y'all through this, whatever. Somebody sent it to the Breakfast Club, to Envy, and they read it over the air. They read the email over the air on the Breakfast Club.
I think I remember that. That's crazy. That's crazy.
So I went through that. This is 2011. I went through that. That was strike one. And listen, everything that I'm saying, listen, everybody on this live, everything that I'm saying, listen, this is not a bash Hot 97 thing.
Not at all.
Because let me tell y'all something. I will always love that station. It's like if Derek Jeter played for the Yankees for 20 years, Derek Jeter's going to always be associated with Hot 97. I will always love that station. But there were some things that happened that I wasn't too keen about. It's not a reflection of everybody there. It's just there were some things that happened. So we're talking about it. So that was one thing that happened, was the email. That was strike one. Strike two was Big Dennis. I don't know if everybody in this live remember Big Dennis that was on Hot 97. I used to be on with him. Big Dennis pulled me to the side one day. This is 2011. This is like May. I got arrested. The news came out April 2011. This is like May 2011. Big Dennis pulled me to the side. He said, yo, see, I got to tell you something. I said, what? He said, yo, I cannot tell you who told me this, but there's people in the building that don't want you on that Summer Jam stage. They're going telling management that you should not be on Summer Jam because of what you've been through. You hear me? You hear me, Flo? You hear me?
That's crazy.
So Dennis, I'm saying to Dennis, I'm like, yo, who told you that? And Dennis like, you'll see, I cannot say this, man, but people in the building are going to upper management saying that they suggest that you do not be on that Summer Jam stage. When I got that word from Big Dennis, and like I said, I don't like to curse on the gram, but when I got that word from Big Dennis, my mentality was like, fuck everybody at Hot 97.
Right.
Now, I done been through them sending the letter. Now I done been through somebody going telling management I shouldn't be on that Summer Jam stage. Now my mind is like, fuck everybody dead at the station. Fuck everybody dead. You hear me?
That's how the average man will feel.
So, because my thing is, if you ain't going to tell me who did it, my thing is I can't trust nobody.
Exactly. Everybody talking behind my back.
So, Flo,
that's how you look
when
at
I
it.
tell you, Flo, when I tell you that when I did that Summer Jam, I went on that stage on Summer Jam on 2011. If you ever, everybody on my live, if you ever get a chance, Google Mister Cee Summer Jam set 2011.
I was there.
And you will witness how I put the wallop on in that building.
I was there.
If you ever get a chance, everybody in the live, Google Mister Cee Summer Jam 2011.
And 2012. You killed it in 2012 too.
And with all the pressure on me, with all the pressure.
You killed it in 2012 too.
With all the pressure that I had, somebody sending a letter, people saying I shouldn't be on that stage. I went to that stage and I was like, I'm going to rip this shit better than the artist that night.
Facts. Facts. Wow.
And that's exactly what I did that night at Summer Jam. They started, people that really know the history of Summer Jam, people that know the history of Summer Jam, y'all already know what Mister Cee used to do at that Summer Jam stage. Y'all already know.
If you have a favorite Summer Jam moment?
Huh?
Do you have a favorite Summer Jam moment? I know you've done so many, but do you have a favorite moment that when you think about Summer Jam, that shit comes to your mind?
There's a couple of moments. I remember the moment when Kanye and Swiss went record for record. They went record for record, Kanye and Swiss. That was a dope moment. There's so many moments, man. But back to me now. Let me talk about me now. Back to me. That 2011 Summer Jam, anybody that knows the history of Summer Jam, what do people always say about Summer Jam when Mister Cee was there? They would say, Cee always killed Summer Jam. They called me the Summer Jam killer. I used to make Giant Stadium my bitch. Giant Stadium was my bitch. I used to make that stadium my bitch. And that's a fact. So 2011, I had a different agenda because the cards was against me. Because I didn't know who in my own building didn't want me to be there. So being that I didn't know who didn't want me to be there, fuck everybody dead. Fuck everybody dead. So that's how it was, man. That's how it was. But those are some of the I could write a book, but those are some of the things that I went through. And once again, I want to make this clear to everybody on the live. This is not a bash HOT97 live. You asked me about HOT97. You asked me about what I went through during those times. Those were some of the bad things I went through. I explained to y'all some of the good things I went through, where Ebro and Flex held me down. They held me down.
Facts.
They held me down. I will never ever forget them for holding me down. But there was a couple of things that happened when I was in the building that I was let down. I felt like I was let down. But I'm going to reveal something too. You're getting a lot of treats tonight, Flo. I'm going to reveal something too.
My brother.
I remember also when I was going through that, a lot of people in the building at HOT97, when I was going through that, they wasn't like talking to me normally like they used to talk to me. They wasn't coming around me or talking to me normally. And I used to get offended by that. And I will never forget having a conversation with Flex. And I had a conversation with Flex. I was like, yo, bro, man, people are acting funny around me, man. Ain't nobody coming around me like they normally would, and nobody checking for me. Like, yo, man, I just don't feel right. And I will never forget what Flex said. He said, yo, Cee, you got to remember, you a leader. Like, when it come down to the building, when it come down to the station, it's me. This is Flex talking. Flex like, when it come down to the leaders of the station, it's me, you, Enough, Angie, Cypher. There's certain leaders in here. So if people are looking at you as a leader, if you done got arrested and you still coming to the station every day, remember, I never hid from anybody.
Right.
Got arrested and I'm still coming on the air every day. So Flex had to put me on. He was like, yo, if you still coming to the station every day, people are looking at you like, if Cee is all right, then we all right. So people was actually looking at it as, if Cee is good, we're good. And I had to take that in from what Flex was telling me, like, you're one of the leaders here. So if people see it that you're good, then they're gonna carry on like everything is normal. And that took Flex telling me that for me to understand that. And when he said that to me, then I understood it better. Because I was still keeping my head up high during those times. I never had my head down. I never walked in that building like, oh, woe is me and all of that. I still kept my head up high. Now, when I left, what my mind was a different story. But I made sure when I walked in that building that I still kept my head high and still kept positive vibes. So when Flex told me that, I understood it better. If I'm making it seem like everything is all right, everybody's going to think everything is all right.
Everything's all right. And what's going to be here, like, listen, bro, we need to talk. Exactly. So,
word up. Is that Kid New? Shout out to Kid New on the
Kid
check.
New, yep.
New, what's
Kid
good?
New. My God. See, who's your shifting gears a little bit? Who's your top 5?
Of rappers or what?
Rappers, yeah. Who's your top 5 rappers?
Top 5 rappers? No particular order. No particular order. My top 5 rappers: Big Daddy Kane, Biggie, Jay-Z, Nas, Rakim. No particular order, but that's my 5. My 5, what I will say is my 5 will beat anybody's 5. I feel like my 5, like, you know, you have 5-on-5 basketball. I feel like my 5 can beat anybody's 5.
The undefeated 5.
Huh?
You feel like your 5 is the undefeated 5?
My 5 is an undefeated 5. Big Daddy Kane, Biggie, Jay-Z, Nas, Rakim. I think my 5 will beat anybody's 5.
Got you. All right, let's play a little game. New York, this or that. You ready?
Okay, how we play this game? Mike Neezy. What up, Mike Neezy?
Mike Neezy, that's my guy.
Yo, he did a mix for you, right?
We got to bring it back because the quality was quality was bad, so we got to bring it back. We're gonna do it next week. He's coming back on next week.
Okay.
Quality was bad. All right, so it's pretty much like a this or that, right? All New York stuff. You ready?
All right.
All right, Knicks or Nets?
Brooklyn Nets, man. I'm from Brooklyn, man. I used to be a Knicks fan. I was a Knicks fan during the whole, Bernard King and then into Patrick Ewing and all of that. But once the New Jersey Knicks came to Brooklyn, I gave it up, man. I'm Brooklyn Nets, man.
All right, got you.
And that's way before these dudes, way before Kyrie, way before all them dudes came.
So it's no bandwagon.
No, look at my logo.
I know.
So that's the old Brooklyn Nets logo. So I'm Brooklyn Nets, man.
All right, Jets or Giants?
I'm a humongous Jets fan.
Whoa.
Humongous Jets fan. So the misery, I done went through years and years of misery, man. I'm a humongous Jets fan.
He's like, it's nothing you can say to me about the Jets that I ain't never really heard. All right, New York style pizza or New York style burgers?
New York style pizza or New York style burger?
Mm-hmm.
I don't eat, be honest with you, I don't eat neither one of those no more. I used to eat both, a lot. As you can see, I lost a lot of weight. I don't eat none of those no more. But if I had to pick one, I'm going to go with the pizza, New York style pizza.
Can't beat that. Can't get that nowhere. Goodfellas or American Gangster?
Goodfellas.
All right. Wu-Tang or Naughty by Nature?
Oh, I'm going with the Wu, man. Yeah, and I love Naughty's. Let me tell you something about Naughty by Nature. Tretch, Vinny, KG, those are the most coolest dudes on the planet. Them dudes, man, they're the coolest dudes on the planet. I've been friends of mine for like 20 years. They've been very good friends of mine. But as far as who I feel is, I like Wu-Tang better than them as a group. But as far as people, it don't get no better than Naughty by Nature. Them dudes are they're the coolest, man. They the dopest dudes, man.
Gino or Dipset?
I'm gonna go with the Unit.
All right. Ready to Die or Life After Death?
Life After Death.
I got one more for you. It's a big one. Nas or Jay-Z?
Jay-Z.
Ooh. What?
Brooklyn.
I understand. He's like, I'm not gonna pick Queens over. I got you. See, man, what do you feel like has been your biggest accomplishment in your career?
My biggest accomplishment, I feel like my biggest accomplishment is withstanding what I went through in 2011 and 2013. I think that's my biggest accomplishment, to withstand that whole storm and to still be here. 8 years later, 2013, 8 years later, like, to still be here and to still be relevant and to still be current and to still be working, still be doing something that I love to do. That's my biggest accomplishment. My biggest accomplishment is withstanding that bad storm that I had, because a lot of people don't recover from what I've been through. All the accolades, all the gold and platinum plaques, all the success with HOT97 or with Biggie or with Kane or even with LL Cool J's Rock the Bells Radio now, all of that is fine and good. But my biggest accomplishment is overcoming the darkness. Mm-hmm. When you can go through what I went through and then still, you can go through shit and smell the roses again. That's my biggest accomplishment. I think that's I think that's what I'm gonna go with.
Oh, well said. Salute, man. You've been through a lot, King. I asked everyone who come on here, what do you want your legacy to be?
That's a great question. I think first and foremost, especially for anybody on this live that's from New York, I think first and foremost, I want my legacy to be that he really represented Brooklyn, that Mister Cee really went hard for Brooklyn and in my prime, whatever y'all feel like my prime was, whether my prime was with Big Daddy Kane, whether my prime was with HOT97, or even what I'm doing now with Rock the Bells Radio, whatever you feel like my prime is, I would hope that the New Yorkers would say that he really repped for Brooklyn, because at the time that I came into, especially doing radio, there was really nobody from Brooklyn on the radio. That, I'm not gonna say I was the first. I'm not gonna say I'm the first Brooklyn cat. I mean, enough came in after me with HOT97, but because prior to me, you had Flex, who's from the Bronx. You had Red and Chuck, Harlem and Bronx. Mr. Magic, Bronx. Some of the great legendary New York DJs from the radio was either Harlem or the Bronx. And so I would want my legacy to be first and foremost that I rep Brooklyn like heavy. Yo, Self, what's good? Self, what's good?
Self in the building.
Hey, yo, Self, I just bigged you up, man. Yo, Self, you owe me a quarter. I just bigged you up like 45 minutes ago.
That's some Brooklyn shit right there.
Hey, yo, Self, would you agree? Hey, yo, Self, would you agree about my legacy as far as New York radio repping Brooklyn? Would you agree with that, Self? Yes or no? I think I'm probably one of the first New York radio, Brooklyn superstar DJs. I mean, you know what I mean? I feel like it. But Self, what you think, Gwennon? Gwennon, what you think? But that's first and foremost that I really rep Brooklyn the fullest, and that even from the mixtape era, like even when I came into the mixtape game, you had people like myself and that was heavy Brooklyn.
Self just wrote you.
What he said?
He said you put on blase.
We just talked about that. We talked about that 2 hours ago, Gwennon. You're too late. But I'm talking radio, Gwennon. Am I the Gwennon? Am I the pinnacle Brooklyn legendary New York radio dude? Am I the pinnacle dude? Yeah, that's really it, Flo. I just want to be remembered as the great, one of the greats in New York. I don't have to be the great, but one of the greats. I feel like I am one of the greats. And this is not to say it in a braggadocious way. I do feel like I am one of the greats. I don't have to be the greatest, but I feel like I'm one of the greats. As long as I'm mentioned and with some of the greats, as far as my impact on New York City, as far as radio and club DJing and just what I did in the game. Okay. So you know what? Self, I agree with you. Self said you're number 2, DJ Clark Kent. He said DJ Clark Kent, basically. You're right, Self. You're right. That's why I asked you. Yeah, so salute to Clark Kent. Clark Kent, Clark Kent came out a little bit before me. And then I came out right after Clark. So yeah, you got to give it up to Clark Kent as well. But yeah, so as long as I mention with some of the other New York great DJs, I'm good with that. You know, I'm good with that.
Man, New York City appreciates you, my brother.
Yeah, man.
For sure, you know, you've been doing your thing for a very long time. You've given a lot to radio. You've given a lot in these clubs. You've given a lot in the stadiums. And you know, if no one else tells you, I'm telling you, my brother, I appreciate you as a promoter, as a friend, as always being someone that is always punctual. You know, you came on here, you jig checked me in the beginning. I thought it was gonna go a little different. You know, I'm like, damn, see, okay. But definitely, man, see, thank you for your time. Thank you for the stories that you've given tonight. Thank you for the gems that you dropped. All the DJs is on the check-in. I know that everyone is able to learn something from you and just your life and what you've been through and being able to still stay strong and represent Brooklyn and represent New York City in the best way. And we love to see you.
Shout out
with you, man.
Shout out to the legendary Dougie Fresh on the check-in. Shout out to
Dougie
the
Fresh,
world's
man,
greatest
the
entertainer.
Dougie Fresh, man.
Dougie
I want to
Fresh
get
on the
Doug up here,
check-in,
man. I want to get Doug up here. I had a lot of people up here, and I've been wanting to get Doug up here. So
shout out to the legendary Dougie Fresh, man. Every time me and Doug work together at the clubs, man, I just, you know, we know each other's timing, and it's so great to work with Doug. He's one of the great ones too, as far as not just being a great performer, just being a great friend and a great human being, man. So
Doug said you are bigger than Brooklyn.
Well, thank you, Doug. Thank you, Doug. I appreciate it, Doug. But Doug is that's my guy right there. It's like somehow when we work together, our chemistry is just crazy. It's like Doug, you know, especially with his DJs, Chill Will and Barry B, like those his two DJs is cats that I studied from when they first came out. So I know all of Doug's routines. So it's like when he's one of the, and I'm not saying it because he's on the live, but he's one of the artists that I love working with because it's just our chemistry is so crazy, man. So shout out to I know I play for the world, Doug. I know I play for the world. I appreciate you, man.
AOC, Self said, keep it real, right? He said, who's the best? He said, who's the best performer, Doug, KRS, or Buster? He said, keep it real.
Oh man, the best performer out of the three, Dougie Fresh, KRS-One, or Buster. The best performer out of the three, I'm going to go with Doug first, and I'm going to tell you why. Doug is the world's greatest entertainer, and I'm not saying it because he's on the live, but he has that name for a reason. Let me tell you something. When Doug does a show, okay, he only does 2 records. He does 2 records, but he's on the stage for like 30 to 45 minutes.
See, and I've booked Doug many times, and I've never paid attention to that. So now you make me pay attention to
He does 2 records. Hey, Self, I'm telling you, Self, don't ask me, and then when I give you the answer, you're going to tell me no way. Self, listen to my explanation. Dougie Fresh, listen to me. And I'm not saying it because Doug is on the live. Dougie Fresh will do an hour show, 45-minute show, 50-minute show. He only does 2 records. Lottie Dottie in the show. But then he don't even do Rising to the Top. Dougie Fresh will do a show and won't even do Rising to the Top and still kill the party.
Listen, even Kid New is saying keep it 100. So self, who you say?
So no, I'm going with here's what I'm going with. I'm going with Dougie Fresh first.
Is it an order?
It's an order. And I'm not ashamed for the order. I'm going Dougie first. Then I'm going KRS-One second. And I'm going to tell you why. I never recognized KRS-One's greatness on stage or performing until I did a party with him. It was either 2020 or 2019. I did a party with him in Connecticut. I will never forget this as long as I live. I'm DJing. No, I did. I DJ. KRS was performing. This man destroyed the club. And and Flo, it was not even packed. It was not. It was about, bro. If it was 100 people in the club, I'm lying. But he put on a performance from walking around the crowd to freestyling about people individually. Just doing individual freestyles about people in the crowd. I never seen anything in my life. That gave me the super high regard to put KRS-One right there. And then Busta. But Busta is great too. Busta is incredible. But I'm going Doug first, then Chris, then Busta. But Dougie is the world's greatest entertainer. Dougie can give a show without doing the show. You hear me? Do you understand what I'm saying?
But see, I think they saying KRS because of KRS freestyles. Because I've seen freestyle too.
I get it, but I'm saying that Doug got hit records. Understand what I'm saying to you. Doug got hit records, and he don't have to do them. Everybody else that's in this list, they have to do their hit records to come off. Dougie don't have to do the show to do the show.
Hey, yo, see, Self say you drinking too much coffee, man.
Yo, I don't drink coffee, Self. Doug don't have to do the show to do the show. I'm just telling you what it is. I'm just telling you what it is. Dougie Fresh is the world's greatest entertainer. Don't try it with him. It ain't gonna happen. I've seen it a million times. Hey, yo, DJ Kid New, what politics? Kid New saying what politics?
I forgot he drink cat-free free soda, my guy.
I'm not capping, man. I'm not capping. Yeah. I done DJ for all three of them. I done DJ for them, all three of them, and I've just seen them in concert. I ain't saying this because Doug is on the live. I'm saying it because it's a fact. I've seen Doug in different scenarios, different situations performing. Can't nobody touch Doug on that stage, man. Out of the three that you're mentioning, now, there's one man that probably can touch Doug. There's one man.
That's true, though. Self said if he don't do this, if Doug don't do his songs, he's not really performing. He's hosting.
Yo, Self, stop with that. If the man is able to perform the songs without doing his songs, that's greatness in itself. But the other two cats, KRS-One and Busta, they would have to do their records. Doug don't have to do his records to kill a concert. That right there makes him great. But there's one man that Mike can bring it to Doug that Self is not mentioning. There's one man, and that man is Big Daddy Kane. There's one man. I don't know if Doug is still on the live. There's one man that Mike can bring it to Doug. And that man is Big Daddy Kane. And I'm not saying it because I roll with him, but Big Daddy Kane is one of the greatest hip-hop performers ever. I'm just looking at this comment.
Listen.
Doug. Hey, yo, Doug, don't fade on me, Doug. At the real Dougie Fresh. What you think when I talk about Kane?
He's going hard for you, Doug, right now. I ain't going to hold you, my brother. He going hard for you, man. I think KRS could bring it to Doug.
Kane is a different type. Kane is a different type. Because I'm going to tell you what Kane got over Doug, over Busta, over KRS-One, the dancing. Kane got that dancing. Doug can do that Dougie. He can do that little Dougie all he want. But he ain't doing those splits and flips like Kane is. He's not. He's not. So that might be the one dude that may get Doug a runner for his money. But then again, Doug and Kane are like this. They're best friends, so they learn from each other as far as performances. They're like super tight. Doug faded on purpose. Doug is still on the live. He don't want to say nothing. He's still on this live. But if there's one person that want to give Doug a run for his money, I'm going with Kane, man. Because to me, Kane is one of the greatest hip-hop performers ever. Just off the dancing alone, Yo, because Flo, when do you see any rapper dance anymore?
You don't. I give him that.
So with that alone, you know what I mean? But KRS, he's incredible, man. He's incredible. I cannot front. And Buster. Buster is a given. Buster will always be. Buster has to be in your top 5. I'm gonna give you my top 5 greatest hip hop performers. Dougie Fresh, no particular order. Dougie Fresh, Big
You
Daddy
already put Dougie at number 1. See,
Dougie Fresh, Big Daddy Kane, KRS-One, Busta Rhymes. That's 4. The 5th one I'm going to give to, the 5th one I will give is more because of his presence as opposed to what he brings to the table. It's more because of presence. And Hove, I got to give it to Hove. That's 5. But Hove has the presence and the excitement that make you be enthralled by his performance. He may not bring to the table what the other 4 bring, but his aura kind of outweighs everything else. Those are my 5.
Okay.
Five greatest hip hop performers. You ain't asked me about DJs, man.
All right, give it to me. Top 5.
All right.
DJs.
Hold up. What you want? You want top 5? What you want? Top 5 greatest DJs in New York all time? Top 5 greatest New York radio DJs all time? Top 5 New York club DJs all time? Tell me what you
just top 5 New York DJs all time. I don't care whether it was on the radio or not. It's top 5 New York DJs. Because a lot of DJs that didn't make radio, but still tore down in these clubs. So
top 5 New York DJs of all time.
Yeah, let's do that.
Kid Capri number 1.
Keep it veiled. Okay.
Keep it veiled. Kid Capri number 1. Top 5 New York DJs of all time. Kid Capri number 1. When I say these 5, I'm going impact. I'm just going with everything. Impact, the influence, clubs, whatever they did in their career. Capri number 1. Flex number 2. Capri number 1, Flex number 2. I'm gonna go.
Self, you definitely top 5 in your era, my brother.
You saying all time, bro. I'm going all time. I'm going impact. I'm going impact everything. Okay. Capri, Flex, Red Alert. Let me back it up. And I may have a different 5 tomorrow, Flo, but let me just, you're saying all time, just, I'm going, matter of fact, let me back it up. Number 1, let me skip that. Number 1 is Grandmaster Flash. Off the top, just the impact that Grandmaster Flash had on the impact of DJing, and he's from the Bronx, New York. I'm going Grandmaster Flash number 1. Just his impact alone, what he did. Grandmaster Flash first, then Capri, then Flex, then Red Alert.
Grandmaster Flash, Capri, Flex, Red Alert. You got one more?
I got to give a tie. I got to give a tie to Chuck Chill Out and Marley. Chuck Chill Out and Marley Marl. I have to give a tie to them. Huh?
No Clue?
Nah, not as far as impact. Clue would be there. Clue would be there. Maybe in my next 5, Clue would be there as far as impact. Clue would be there. Not in the first 5. I don't feel like Clue's impact is as big as the other 5 that I mentioned. Impact. Clue would probably be in the next 5 in that top 10.
Who you just tied?
Huh?
Who did you just tie just now?
Say it again.
Who you put the tie on? That you say you got.
I put Chuck Chill Out and Marley Marl, and I put Chuck Chill Out and Marley Marl, and I'm really basing it on impact. as far as what they did for New York radio.
Who hurt?
You know, Kool Herc. It's like the dude. What's the man that invented basketball? I think his name is James Naismith. I think his name is James Naismith. He invented He invented the game of basketball, but you can't put him as the greatest person in basketball.
Because he didn't elevate. Because he didn't take basketball to what it is.
Right. Because he, so Kool Herc kind of invented it, but I can't put him in a 5 as far as the impact. I would put Grand Wizard Theodore in impact as a DJ more than Kool Herc. You can't take away what Kool Herc did as far as inventing the hip hop form, but then people like Flash and Grand Wizard Theodore took it to another level that where we eventually at today. So, that's what I feel. But I think that's my 5 right there. I'm gonna go with Grandmaster Flash, Capri, Flex, Red Alert, and a tie between Chuck Chill Out and Marley Marl. And maybe that's my old head talking. That's the 54-year-old man talking. Now, you want to talk about a different generation? We can go a different generation. You want me to tell you my top 5 radio DJs on the radio now? We can go into that. But as far as all time, New York, and that's what's in my head now. Tomorrow I could be saying
tomorrow could be different. So
yeah.
Tomorrow the caffeine could be down. Like some say you drinking purified water. See,
what he said?
He said you drinking purified water.
What that mean? You ever had Self on here, Flo?
Nah, I never had Self on here. I gotta get him on it. So we could talk about his top 5. All right, let's do your top 5 current day.
Huh?
Let's do your top 5 DJs that's on the radio now.
Top 5 DJs that's on New York radio right now. Funkmaster Flex, number 1. DJ Self, number 2. Camilo, number 3. Enough, number 4. Let me repeat that. Flex 1, Self 2, Camilo 3, Enough 4. I'm going to go, Cassie gonna like my 5th pick, but this dude is so underrated. But I'm going to go with Sus One, number 5. I'm going with Sus One, number 5.
Sus One is my guy too. I like that.
I'm going with Sus One, number 5.
See, I would tie Sus One and tie Boogie.
Huh?
I would tie Sus One and tie Boogie. That would be like my number 5. I would have to. That'd be like a battle between them two.
You know what it is? With me, and this is I don't get to hear Ty Boogie. I don't get to hear. I know he's on Primetime or Angie Slot. I don't get to hear him often. And that's why I didn't really put him in the 5. He would be like 6. But I never. And Ty Boogie probably been on over a year, some change. And Ty Boogie probably gonna call me, curse me out. But I have not yet to hear a Ty Boogie show on when he's on with Angie. I hear Sus One more than I hear Ty Boogie, and that's why I put Ty Boogie in the 5. I never get to hear Sus One.
Somebody said no envy.
Nah, no envy. Nah, no envy. There's no offense to Envy's talent, but nah, I can't. I wouldn't put Envy. I wouldn't put Clue. I wouldn't put Envy. I wouldn't put I wouldn't put Drewski. I wouldn't put, you know what I mean? I wouldn't put Drewski. I wouldn't put what's my man? Huh?
What about Spin King?
I wouldn't put Spin King. It's not their time yet. They making moves though. Don't get it messed up. They're making moves. Shout out to Spin King. Shout out to Drewski. Shout out to Walla. They're making moves, but to put them in that echelon, nah. But Envy and Clue, and it's nothing offense. Envy and Clue, no offense to them. I just wouldn't. They wouldn't be in my top 10. I have to. That's when I got to put the Ty Boogies in. That's when I got to put you know, I would have to put Ty Boogie in. I would have to put Cass One in. I would have to put, you know, as far as top 10, I had to put Ty Boogie, Cass One, DJ Will. You know, some of them type of cats. I have to put them in that to round off that 10. I wouldn't put Envy and Clue in there. And once again, it's no offense to them, but you know, I wouldn't put them in the 10.
I could take that top 5. That's a good top 5 for current DJs in New York on the radio doing their thing.
Yeah, I think it's a solid. And once again,
Self got quiet. Self didn't challenge you on that one.
Of course, he's gonna get quiet. Anytime you name him in a 5, he's quiet because he feel like, okay, I made it. Sucker, he's a sucker. He feel like he made it. Crazy thing is, he know I'm always gonna put him in the top 5. Yo, Cass One is a problem. DJ G Money, Cass One is Kid Capri is not on the radio. Stop asking about Kid. He's not on the radio in New York. We just had him as the top 5 all-time New York DJ. He's not on the radio in New York.
I lost the audio. Y'all can hear C? Y'all can hear C? I can't hear him.
Recognition. I don't think he really gets the recognition.
Yeah, went out for a second.
Yeah, my battery going low. Yeah, I'm a fan of Sus One, man, and I don't think he gets the recognition. So, but I think I put Sus One 5 just because he's been doing it for a long time. I think I put him 5 because he's been doing it for a long time, and I don't think he gets looked at the way he should. So my thing is, I just put him in because he don't get looked at the way he should.
You see, I could put Sus One, or I could put Pro Style too.
Pro Style, another one. I don't never really get to hear him, so I have no gauge on Sus. I have no gauge on Pro Style because I don't never get to hear him. So, but yo, my battery getting ready to go dead, bro. That's why it's coming in and out.
Thank you, C. Thank you for your time, man. It's been fun.
I appreciate it. I hope everybody on the live enjoyed this, and I had a good time talking to you, FloWay, man. And
LC, real quick before you get off here, plug where you at this weekend. I know you got a lot
a couple of things, real quick. Y'all can check me out on Rock the Bells Radio. The show is called The Set It Off Show, Rock the Bells Radio, Monday through Saturday. I'm on Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 p.m. East Coast time. Then every Saturday, I'm on 2 to 4 p.m. East Coast time. LL Cool J's Rock the Bells Radio, Sirius XM Channel 43. I play classic hip-hop from the 80s, 90s, and 2000s. And then, and this weekend, I got nothing but Biggie tribute parties this weekend. Shout out to all my people going to Atlanta. If you're going to Atlanta, be safe out there. Please wear your mask if you're going to Atlanta. DJ Self, wear your mask. You're going in them strip clubs in Atlanta.
Listen, Self been everywhere, like.
DJ Self, wear your mask down there, God. Don't come back here with the killer cooties, bro. Don't come back here with the killer cooties.
Kevin Hart called that shit the VIG. The VIG.
Yeah. So, but this weekend, this Saturday, I'm doing a Biggie tribute party at a secret location in New Jersey. It is not an underground party. It's at a well-known location. It's just a secret location. When you buy the tickets, you find out where it's at. I'm there this Saturday. Shout out to my man NJ Soup. Biggie tribute party there. Me and DJ Naeem on the set. This Sunday, I'm doing a Biggie brunch at a place called Deltas in New Brunswick, New Jersey. That's from noon to 10. And then right after that, I'm doing another Biggie brunch in Brooklyn at a secret location. Not an illegal spot, secret location in Brooklyn. Me and DJ Enough is on the set. Shout out to Pretty Lou from the Heavy Hitters. And so that's where I'm at for the weekend doing Biggie tribute parties, man.
Definitely, man. See you stay up, man. Blessings to you and your family. It's been fun, my brother, man. You be safe out there too, man.
All right, man. Everybody be safe. Everybody be safe, man. And good to talk to you, FloWay, man. You keep
thank you, my brother. All right, peace, man.
All right, be good.
Hey, listen, everybody. Thank y'all for tuning into the FloWay show, man. If you missed any part of the conversation with DJ Mister Cee, it will be on iHeartRadio, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts by like 2 a.m. All right, so if you missed any of the conversation, it will be there. People talking shit. Yeah, next week, next Wednesday, regular time, 8 p.m. Thank you. Salute, DJ Double Time. Next Wednesday, 8 p.m., I got Little Mo coming on the show. All right, we're going to talk to Little Mo. She got a new single out called Broken Heart. We're going to talk about it. So next week, 8 p.m., I got Little Mo. Make sure you get the FloWay Show merch, the Catch a Vibe hoodies, the Catch a Vibe t-shirts on onewayent.net. Self, hit me up, God. I want to get you on the show, my brother. All right, everyone, I hope you have a good night. This was a dope conversation. Once again, if you missed any part of it, it will be wherever you get your podcasts. DJ K New, my guy. What's up, my brother? Shout out to Cameo. If you want to connect with your favorite artists, your favorite entertainers, want to get drops, shout outs, want to sing your song, they got you, all right? Make sure you download that Cameo app. Shout out to Bel Air, Bamboo, 17 Brands, you know the vibes. BeautifulBeautySupply.com. Ladies, you can go there for all your beauty and cosmetic needs. All right, that's it. Peace, love, blessings to everyone. Y'all stay safe out there. Everyone going to Atlanta this weekend. Make sure you wear your mask. Self, wear your mask, my brother. Don't come back to New York with the germs. All right, y'all. Much blessings. Peace.